everybody. I'm Miss Jennifer, the Children's Librarian at the Leach Library, and thank you for joining us for a story today. The story we're going to be reading is Jerry the Crabby Crayfish, and this is by Janice Spina. We would like to thank the author Janice Spina from Londonderry for allowing us to read her story today, and a special thanks also to John Spina for illustrating this book. So thank you so much, and we'll get started. Again, it's called Jerry the Crabby Crayfish. And a couple of things I wanted to tell you before we actually start the story. Jerry is actually a real crayfish that the author had at one point. So that's kind of cool, I think, if you think of this as a kind of true story at least. And something else, I will be saying every so often the sentence, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. So if you would like to join me in saying that, feel free to. It's kind of fun as we get going in the story. So if I say, Jerry says, and look at you, it might be a clue that we're going to be saying that. So you can follow along if you'd like. Okay, so we'll get started. His name is Jerry. He is anything but merry. All day long, Jerry says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. Jerry is a brilliant blue crayfish who has a cave for a home. Jerry lives in an 80-gallon tank full of fish. For something to eat, he will forage and roam. All day long, Jerry says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. See, there's Jerry. He's kind of little in this picture, but he's right there. Jerry is known to be crabby quite a bit, as the other fish know. They must get out of Jerry's way, or he will take a fit, especially those swimmers who are a little too slow. All day long, Jerry says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. Jerry is not happy, as anyone can see. He chases and harasses the fish on a whim. Jerry complains and thinks a fish is what he wants to be. He pushes aside any fish who are in front of him, as all day long Jerry says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. Jerry grumbles as he forages around his home, a cave at the bottom of the tank. He is looking for something to eat in the area where a dead fish just sank. Jerry considers this a special treat, as all day long he says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. It is almost time for Jerry to shed his old shell, for he is growing a new one underneath. Today, because of that, he is not feeling well. Soon, Jerry will have a new protective covering or sheath. Jerry dreams of being able to swim above like all the fish of the sea. This, Jerry thinks, would be truly love, just to feel so free. As Jerry dreams, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. Jerry has a skeleton on the outside of him, while we have our skeleton inside. He cannot go outside of his cave on a whim. Jerry's new skeleton must be tough and strong before he shows it off with pride. Jerry thinks to himself all day long, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. Jerry is working hard to shed his shell. It is not an easy job to do. He is staying inside until he has done his job and done it well. Jerry will not even look out of his cave until his new shell is bright and ever so blue. He sits in his cave all day long and says, swish, swish, I wish I was a fish. The fish in the tank are keeping away from the entrance of the cave. They know what is happening to Jerry today. The fish are eating the food to them the human just gave. Before Jerry comes out and waves them away, he will surely say, "Swish, swish, I wish I was a fish." The sharks are out in force, along with the tiger barbs, white and striped tetras, and red hearts. They are all trying to eat their fill, of course, at the same time staying away from each other, a safe distance apart. The fish like having more to eat, and the human keeps on dropping in a new treat, more so to entice Jerry out of his cave. But the food that is dropped for Jerry, they do not save. Sometimes it may take Jerry a few days to shed his shell. During that time, the fish have free rein. The fish swim without fear and eat very well. They all get along and never complain. They may not realize it yet, but the food they did not eat has settled down. It's all along the bottom of the fish tank floor. It has begun to deteriorate, set, and pollute the water all around. But what is happening here? The fish are swimming around and having some trouble. The water has gotten so bad, they fear. The fish are gasping at each air bubble. Here comes Jerry. With his brand new shell, he looks around and sees that the water is not clear. Jerry sets out to do the job of cleaning up the decaying food that he was meant to do so well. Now the fish will be able to breathe without any fear. Jerry has once again saved the day, and with his new blue shell is here to stay. With his new shell, Jerry is searching and crawling very close to his designated home. Just above him, he noticed a large net trawling. Here it is, right there. The school of fish above him did not sense the danger as they did Rome. Due to the poor conditions of the tank, the human decided to take out the fish in order to clean. The debris that had at the bottom sank. He dipped in a large net, but the fish he couldn't quite get. Closer and closer the fish did swim, and into the large net they did go. As Jerry waved his claws in front of him, he caught the edge of the net as he swung his body to and fro. Jerry hung on as he chopped away at the net, and the hole soon got bigger, and out the fish did swim. Just as the net was to come out of the water, Jerry got set to menacingly wave his claws at the net in front of him. The human had to pull out the ripped net. See, there's a big hole in the net. The cleaning of the tank he would have to forget. Jerry managed to get away, and as he descended back down, he felt happy to be free. He looked around to find the fish were waiting to thank him for rescuing them and being as brave as he could be. Jerry nodded to them and pushed himself downward as he heavily sank. He headed back to his home, a cave at the bottom of the fish tank. It's right over there. Jerry sat in the quiet of his cave, thinking about the fish that he did save. Jerry was relieved he did not get his wish, as he now says, "Swish, swish, I'm glad I'm not a fish." So this is a neat story that not only teaches you a little bit about crayfish and how they might live when they're living in a fish tank, but it also says a lot about how there are things that maybe we can't do that other people can do, and we might not be happy about that, but there are things that we can do to help other people that are special, and maybe not everybody can do them. So look for the good in you, not for the things you can't do. And some interesting things about crayfish. In case you haven't heard of crayfish before, sometimes people call them crawfish or crawdaddies or mudfish. And you might have eaten them before, or maybe you know somebody that's eaten them. They are cousins to lobster, which lobster are more common to eat up around here in New Hampshire, but crayfish can also be eaten. Probably not pet crayfish though. That doesn't sound that delicious. Crayfish can eat some interesting things, like not just fish food, but they can eat hot dogs and cat food, which I thought was super cool. And they can come in different colors. Like some colors they might come in are yellow, pink, red, brown, and blue. Just like Jerry, our crabby crayfish, had a blue shell. And like I said, they're cousins to lobsters, so that's why they look a lot like them. So thank you for coming and for listening to our story, and I hope you had a great time. Goodbye.